oh my gosh, this is a feeling I've never had before. And then it just felt like, like I was like leaking.
Yes, that's kind of the feeling. You're like, you're half peeing, half leaking.
Yeah.
And it's just out there. Hello, and welcome to Reclaim Your Radiance, a podcast where we discuss the most intimate parts of the human experience. Let's take a deep dive into self-love, sexual pleasure, and absolutely everything in between. I'm your host, Kris Hall, and each week we will be joined by one fabulous friend, and sometimes that friend will just be me, to talk about how we can all become our most radiant selves. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Hello, and welcome to this bright, wonderful Tuesday's episode of Reclaim Your Radiance. Today we are joined by Katie, a female, cis-hetero, 29-year-old Canadian, born in Sarnia, Ontario, and raised in London, Ontario. Katie is a nurse who has traveled extensively, both for her job and for pleasure, and is inspiring in her optimistic view of love and life. She has such a light, beautiful spirit, and in this episode filled with quote-unquote girl talk, we dive into friend breakups, how to learn to love your period, changing and choosing the life for you, squirting, and definitely some other stuff too. I'm so excited for you to meet Katie.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. You look fabulous. I'm so happy we're in person.
I know, it's so nice. And we live so close. I just biked over here. It's like 8 minutes. Yeah.
You live so close for now. And then you're going to move to the island.
I know. So I'm moving a little far away to the middle of nowhere, but.
Where are you moving to on Vancouver Island for all of us who don't know?
It's this town called Ucluelet or Yuki, which is close to Tofino, which is like the surf capital, I guess, of Canada, you could say, but really small town. Very small.
Well, surfing in Canada is, it leaves something to be desired sometimes, but it's still pretty good out there.
It's cold. Definitely need a wetsuit all year. But
how does it compare to where you grew up?
Well, very, very different. Super different. So I grew up I was born in a little town called Sarnia, bigger than Tofino. It's a city of like 75,000, and then moved to London, which is about an hour from there. This is like
London, Ontario.
Yeah, London, Ontario, not England. Yeah. Good point.
I do that all the time because London's where I went to school, and then London's where my sister lives now, but they're very different Londons.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So there's just it's more suburbia, more just focused on, school and work and sports, like watching the hockey game or go to the bar and party. And that's kind of because there's not a whole lot else to do there in terms of outdoor activities, which is what I love. So that's why I moved out here a few years ago to the West Coast, to Vancouver. And now I even want to be even more immersed in that. And because I don't really do much in the city. So just being close to the ocean and nature and being immersed in that is really where I thrive. So just making that move now.
Nice. London is kind of, I don't know, my impression of it when I lived there for 4 years, even though I spent all my time in the university bubble, was that it was kind of like a big giant flat pancake and it never ended.
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't really realize because that's where, I moved there when I was 10 and then stayed until probably 25 or something. On and off, I traveled a lot in my 20s, but it's just farmland. There's a river that's it's called the Thames.
Of course, I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The street I grew up on is called Notting Hill.
No way.
Yeah, not original at all.
Oh my gosh. Ottawa. Sorry, Ontario. Get your shit together.
So it just kind of goes on and on. It just keeps expanding out. It's just flat. There's no lakes. There's it's called the Forest City. I guess there are trees.
Right, I didn't notice any forests. I heard about that my last year, and I was like, "What? No."
I know. I drove out of town to go on a trail run every now and then. But yeah, it's just very, very different. The lifestyle is completely different. So after visiting out here quite a few years ago, I was like, "Oh my gosh, why am I not living on the West Coast? I need to move out here." I'm sure you felt the same.
Yeah. No, it was more just I think it was after I traveled a lot of places in the world and realized how many people got to live next to the ocean. And like every time I went to the ocean when I was a kid, I would see the ocean, and like I thought it was this big secret. I thought that nobody in my family knew this, but I would like sneak off and go like say goodbye to the ocean. Like I had this like whole little ritual. I'd be like, so cute next time. And then like literally it was caught me so much by surprise that like I was like, I'll just be 10 minutes. Like we were about to leave, and somebody, I forgot who in my family, looked at me, they're like, you're about to go say goodbye to the ocean, aren't you? And I'm like, fuck, how does everybody know this?
That is so cute.
Oh, you know those things you think you hide, but you don't?
Totally.
Yeah.
I can relate. Like I would go to North Carolina. Like that was our like family road trip vacation that we went on every few years. And like, yeah, just those are my favorite memories. Like just like playing in the ocean and collecting seashells and like bodyboarding or boogie boarding, wherever it's called. Like it was just
right?
like
and like having that big body of water like calms us down, right? Like it's a human trait is that like water calms us because there's like that psychological trigger that says, oh, you're safe, you have sustenance, you can survive, right?
Totally.
And yeah, I just remember, and then like I traveled and I figured out that so many people live near the ocean. I was like, but I can do that too and still live in Canada. Like, okay, sure. And then I get mountains, like, oh my God, why don't I? Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. It's like light bulb.
Yes, we've come to the same conclusion.
Yeah. I used to be like, oh, you're so lucky. Or you had that mindset, or a lot of people, at least from back home, I don't know if you experienced this too. Like, oh, you're so lucky. Like you live by the ocean. Or like, I would think that about other people I met in traveling too. And then I realized same thing, like, oh, I could do that. And then same thing for people that now say that live in Ontario, wherever you may be. Like, it's like, oh, you also have the power to move and closer to the ocean or wherever actually you want to be, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, like I find the same thing with traveling very often. Is that it's like, oh, like you're so lucky you have gotten to go here, or you're, oh, like, oh, I wish I could do a trip like that. Like I traveled for, like 14 months, and I know I'm interested to hear about your travels because I know they've been expansive, but like people kind of look at you and they say things like they wish they'd done this or something X, Y, or Z. And I don't know, some people, like lots of people do it. And then there's lots of people who say those things that never do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's something to be said about like that if you wanted to do it, you would have done it.
Totally.
And so at a certain point, I think it really does come down to like admitting to yourself that you're not that kind of person, right? No matter how much you want to, like, no matter how much you want to be into BDSM, maybe you're just not. And you just might have to let that go. Or like, right? Like I find myself kind of bumping up against that sometimes recently. I'm like, I really want to be into this thing, but I'm not okay with it, or it doesn't align with me. And it kind of sucks, but then you have to let it go.
I know. Yeah, I think there's that, or vice versa. The people they just are so blocked that they're never like, they're those constant excuses like, oh, I can't, or, oh, like work or this or family or finances. And like, of course, everyone's circumstances are different, but like, again, exactly what you said, if you really wanted to do it, you would make it happen. So yeah, I find that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can, yeah. Like what would you say is I know this is a really big question, but like your biggest takeaway from like solo traveling, what is it like really giving you?
That is a great question. Probably the realization that you can be whoever you want to be and learn whatever you want, like see anything you want. I know that's really broad, but like, it's really just that empowerment. I'll back it up with a story. Like my biggest solo trip I did was in Central America and South America mostly. And I met a couple of Canadians in Nicaragua where I started, and, I felt like I clung on to them. They're two friends that were a couple years younger than me, and they're awesome. I'm still friends with them. Then I went to Colombia and like, I ended up hanging out with these people, and it was just, we were like partying a lot. And at this point I really wanted to like hike and explore and learn local culture. And I really wanted to continue learning Spanish and like, but I was so fearful that I had to stay with these people that I met. And then when I had this moment that I was like, okay, you know what? The friends my new friends don't want to spend this money on this trek. They'd rather party at the beach. That's not and then like, I ended up doing that by myself. And then I met these people, like, I'm still like, that were so in alignment with me. I like had the best, it was just a few days, had the best time. But then I suddenly was empowered and was like, oh, I can go on whatever path I want. Like this, I think it kind of is a good metaphor for life, like that, where you see yourself, that path. Like in that trip, I saw myself on this path with, oh, I'm going to follow these group of people around and just do whatever they want to do, like the people pleaser in me. But then once I did my own thing and kind of was like, realize, okay, I'm going to listen to my intuition and I know what I want. I'm going to go this other way. And then suddenly I, then ended up staying and learning Spanish in this town. And like kind of just one thing led to another, and met people that were really in alignment with what I wanted to do and my values and stuff as well. So it was just like, that was kind of a rambling answer to that, but yeah, a metaphor for life, I think, is maybe my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. And there's a lot of metaphors there in terms of like friendships and like, that you can see your life, or even relationships, like romantic relationships, that you can picture this whole life and you had something planned. And this was like, right. And I think a lot of us are running into this these days of like, but this was the plan. And this is the thing that I've dreamed about for so many years, or put so many years into working towards it. And then when you finally get there, you realize you don't want it.
Yeah.
Right. But like, it's not the worst thing in the world. And you can just be more in alignment with you if you just switch paths, right? Like pivot and move away. And yeah, it can be really sad and really hard to let go of those pieces of yourself and those people who often make up those experiences. But gotta do it if you want to be authentic to yourself, right?
Absolutely. That's actually something I've had to do recently. That was like probably the biggest challenge I had last year. Was a close friend of mine, like actually one that I have traveled a lot with, and as a maid of honor in her wedding. And her and her partner came to visit me like a few months ago out west, and there was just a lot of clashing with my partner, and like I realized we just didn't have a lot in common, or it felt like she was going on one path and I was going down another. And it just didn't feel like this relationship was super authentic anymore. And that was so huge of like letting that go. Like right now I asked her for some space because it just didn't feel genuine anymore. And it's really difficult letting go of somebody that was such a big part of my life. And I don't know, I want to keep that door open. Who knows where that may lead, but that was a huge challenge. But recognizing, okay, I'm not that same person that I was 10 years ago when I met her, like even a few years ago when we spent all our time together. And like now I'm on, kind of want to follow this other path. And if she doesn't really align with that anymore, and it's kind of almost not holding me back, but like, you know what I mean? Like, then it's just like, maybe that's not that this relationship may have served its purpose. And, and it's really tough. It's really so sad.
Like, but you can't choose history over happiness.
No.
Right. And like, if I find it's also like, it's a clue if you always hang out with somebody to catch up and you're never having new experiences together, you're never building new memories. You're just being like, okay, so since I saw you, this is the stuff I've done.
Yeah. Totally.
Right?
Yeah. Or like, and since she visited, it was like sending memories of us from years ago, like constantly. That was the only thing that like tied us together still. I love that, like the history over happiness. And yeah, I haven't had much of an issue with that in romantic relationships. Like, but I think it's because in society it's just like very like, okay, yeah, you break up with somebody and then you move on and you may never talk to that person again. But with friendships, like there's this expectation that you're just like friends forever. And we don't talk about healthy friendship breakups. Right. Or like,
and those are so devastating. Like friendship breakups are harder than like relationship breakups.
Oh God. Yeah. So much. Yeah.
Like I've gone through some really brutal friendship breakups, but like one of them, all of them have hit me really hard, but one of them that I remember particularly, my partner at the time really needed his solo space because we had just spent a weekend together. And like this person sent me like a one text breakup almost, right? After like years and a shared tattoo and everything.
Oh God, shared tattoo and all.
She sent me a text. She sent me a goddamn text. And I was wrecked by it. And so of course, here's my boyfriend comforting me over the breakup with a friend. Like I couldn't stop crying. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to stay with you and hug you. I was like, right. And I was like, oh, right. It's so
I know. Yeah. It's like, I didn't realize that. Like, cause I'm somebody that likes to stay on good terms with everybody. And like, it's really hard for me to have, it's really hard for me to like break up with somebody or ask for space or like, feel like I'm doing something like that's upsetting somebody or whatever. That's not like inner people pleaser. I'm sure like most women or a lot of people experience, right? Like, so this example and like other, other friendships in the past, I think this was one of the first ones where I've been the like initiator. So I feel like I'm in control. So there's a lot of guilt with it. Like, whereas in the, it hurts when previous friends have ended things like with a text or something. And it's like,
that one was unjustified. Yeah. That one had nothing. That one had to do with like, she was insecure with some, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, there's that as well. But yeah.
but right. Like it's nothing that we're taught. And you know what I love though? There's like that saying that's like friends are in your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes if it gets past a certain point, you're like, oh, it's a lifetime and they're good. But like, how many people actually stay in your life forever? Very few. And it's just it's so difficult. Because like your friend is the person you were going to go to get comfort on a breakup, right? And then you break up with your friend and you're like, who do I go to? And people don't take it seriously enough, right? People don't comfort you in the same way that they would if it was a romantic breakup.
I know, absolutely. Like I remember going to work and I was like distraught and like emotional and I've cried over it so many times, but it's really hard to, and I feel like I'm burdening people when I talk about it because it's like, oh, whatever, you're just like had a little drama with a friend, who cares? But like,
it's like, no, we broke up.
Like I'm moving, right? And I was like packing my things, like going through like cards and stuff. And like, I found the speech that I gave her at her wedding because I was the maid of honor, and like I found, and then I'm like, it's a breakup. Like,
it's a breakup. It's such a breakup.
Yeah.
Like it's so necessary because like recognizing those boundaries and being able to like, well, I mean, in this case, it wasn't a boundary that was being violated, but it was just that you recognize that they weren't bringing anything into your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or that, I don't know, was it that she was clashing or?
Well, it actually was a bit of a boundary. Like she basically accused my boyfriend of being manipulative, her and her partner, after we actually went to Tofino. It's kind of funny. Now I'm moving there. And that's kind of how it all started. We went there in July and the four of us and went there and we had different expectations of this trip. Like Sean and I wanted to surf a little bit and kind of chill out a little more. They've never been there. So they wanted to do the touristy things, which is all good. We could have made it work. We were sharing a car and sharing an Airbnb. So it's logistically challenging, but we could have made it work. Right. But if we wanted to just like hang out at the beach for a couple hours later and say, hey, take my car. Well, we have friends that we can catch a ride. They just seem very disappointed, or like they view me as this person that, again, just goes with the flow and does whatever everybody else wants. And so when they see me being like, oh, actually, you know what? I'd rather just hang out here and rather just surf right now. They were just disappointed. So then anyways, after a few days of this trip, they basically, accused my partner of being manipulative, that I'm doing all the compromising in this relationship and various other things that just weren't fair. And it, of course, then got me to question, because here's my best friend telling me that my partner that is like, like manipulating me. So then briefly I'm like, well, am I being manipulated? Like I am. It got me back to these like self-doubts of like, oh, am I not able to have an opinion about myself? Or like, yeah, he is a stronger personality. Maybe I am like, and so then it was obviously challenging for him and I, but then I realized I'm like, wait, like he's challenging me to grow and stuff. But like, I have never felt more authentically me than like I have. And that's not just because of him, it's various factors, but like I've just changed and grown as a person since I had a few years ago when like they really knew me. And the fact that they weren't open, talking about they as in, because her and her husband, like they weren't open to seeing me for who I am now and not accepting of that. It's whether they say they are, but then their actions were different. And so, it like they left this trip, feeling, or, everything was all good, but it just didn't feel right for me. And then so she kept reaching out and I kept being kind of a little irritated, or like just being like, doesn't feel very genuine. But like on my anniversary, a couple months later with Sean, I posted a photo and she texted me like, oh, happy anniversary. And I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. So it wasn't anything like, crazy major, but it just didn't feel like she said she was supportive, but it didn't really feel like she was actually supportive of who I am now. And part of that is my partner. So
yeah,
that's why I just felt like, okay, I need to just ask for some space. And then since then I'm still toying with that, whether like to reach out, whether it's like, okay, am I doing this out of guilt because I feel like I need to, because I feel bad. She probably thinks that Sean is manipulating me to not talk to her. She straight up actually said that. So it's like she almost, so it's like, but then I'm like, but I've already explained myself. Like, it's just, I don't know. So it's a bit complicated.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't sound like great energy.
Exactly. And since then, and I don't know about you, but like I'm learning more. Like if you let go of what doesn't serve you, it then opens up doors, or for, in this case, relationships, people that are better match or more alignment or do serve you. So I've made a couple of really great friends that I've, you know, because I've kind of closed that door, and now I have space for those relationships. So yeah, I think it's difficult. It still is at times, but it's yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic lesson, right? Like that, and that's true with all things, that you have to, and it's always hard getting rid of something to get that new thing, right? Because it's this thing that you've always had, or like this sure thing, even if it's like, you know, this is a terrible example, but I'm looking at the lamp over there and I'm like, you have to get rid of the lamp to allow the space for a new lamp to come into your life. And you're without that light for a while.
Exactly.
But the next light is going to be brighter and suit your life more.
I love that. It's so true, because part of this loss was like, oh, I feel like I'm losing a best friend. Like I've always had this, literally, she's been my best friend. And I'm like, who is my best friend? I don't know if I have like a best friend anymore, you know? Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, but a new best friend will come in, and maybe it'll be a season, maybe it'll be a lifetime, who knows? But yeah.
No, it's a very important and hard lesson that we all must learn.
I know it's challenging, but
yeah. So you've spoken so lovingly about your partner.
Yeah.
What I don't know where to start. What do you love the most about him?
Putting me on the spot. So I love how, well, he's super driven. Like he's just so like, he'll just make something happen. Like he's an entrepreneur. So he like really just sees what's important in life and like puts his energy towards that. And then really doesn't care about things that are not important. So that's been a really good lesson for me. But he loves he's so cute. He loves like animals like so much. He like will stop and say hi to the cows on the side of the road. Sometimes I'm irritated by it, but it's like so adorable.
That's really cute.
Or even just like so generous. Like he'll stop and help. We were in the Kootenays and he helped like an old this older lady who had a flat tire, and he like, instead of just calling CAA for her, just like literally changes her tire like in negative 25-degree weather. Like he's so generous like that. He's hilarious. We have the same like dorky sense of humor, and just very similar values. Like he's super outdoorsy like I am, and loves like to surf, and yeah, just really has challenged me to like lives kind of unconventionally. And there's like that deep part of me that has, but also, you know, really wants to continue on that path. And again, I think that's like, just being with him has helped me. He really helps me challenge myself to like grow and continue on to pursue things that I really care about, or that lights me up. Like he's able to see, hey, you know what, you really love this, but not so much. So like, that's really good as well. There's so many things, but those are a few.
I love that. I love the cows.
Yeah. The aquarium, like our first, he freaking loves the aquarium. I think the first Christmas present I got him was like tickets to the aquarium, because he just like doesn't stop talking about sea life and stuff.
That's so cute. And of course the Vancouver Aquarium is so sustainable. It's lovely.
Oh yeah, it's best.
Yeah. So how many years have you guys been together?
2.5 years. Yeah. So we met in the Canadian Tire parking lot.
What?
Squamish.
What?
Okay, well, we met on Hinge. But I wish we actually met in the Canadian Tire parking lot. That's what we tell people, because it's hilarious. But I was like, oh, Lovely Water. You've done like Lovely Water,
yeah.
right? Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Kind of. Not really. I've never seen the fucking lake. Oh
Did you get injured? So this is like this beautiful lake here in BC. It's like,
there is a treacherous hike to it.
It is.
And you have to cross the river first. And then what is supposed to be a 6-kilometer hike is...
No, Google lies, yeah.
No, well, it's 6 kilometers. It's just the most technical hike you've ever seen in your goddamn life.
It's like straight up.
And just like over rocks constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I came back from that. And we also didn't have a way back to cross the river. So my friends and I were like, well, maybe let's just borrow these kayaks that are here. And so my friend is like,
you stole people's kayaks?
Borrowed.
Come on.
So
this is a very fast flowing river. Like this is a this is like whitewater rapids. Like you have to freaking paddle to keep yourself equal so that you can cross.
So yeah, it didn't go well when she, so then we had to like kind of try and rescue her in the kayaks from like one waist deep in this water. Anyways, did all this and then went directly to this date. So like no shower. No.
Oh, well, that was before the date.
Before the date.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Because he lives in Squamish, an hour away. And yeah, I was smelly, but I was like, we had talked on the phone a couple times. It was great. That's one thing I love, like God, that's probably the best thing I love about him is like communication. Like he's such a good communicator. Like he just like
communication is so sexy. I remember like early on with my partner, it was like I texted him just being like, is it weird that I think that how you communicate is really sexy? And he's like, no, I totally agree. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So like we met on Hinge first. So going back a couple of weeks before that. And then like, he called me right away. Like I was over Hinge. Wow. I mean, I was only on it for a couple, but I had so much going on that summer that I was like, I don't have time for a man right now. Delete the apps. But then he like couple messages and then boom, he's like, oh, can I call you tonight? And I was like, oh, well,
bold.
I know. Very
like
bold.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Exactly. He's on it. To this day, sometimes he's like, oh, just call. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel like
we were trained. Yeah. Text them. No, send them words.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know this person well enough to call them yet. Like, you're about to hang out with them in person. Anyway, so call me. Everything was. I was just like, whoa. And I like knew this guy. I was like, this is different. I was actually in Ontario going to a cottage with some friends and like got to this cottage the next day. I was like, I just had the best conversation with this guy. I have so much hope. Like I just like, because of the way he communicates, like I'm also a good communicator, but I've dated kind of like avoidant guys in the past. And then like, attachment styles, like he's probably like anxious, secure, and I'm a little anxious, secure. So it works out really well because we both like, really like to over communicate a little bit, but like in a relatively healthy way. We're not too clingy, right? So yeah, the next day I ended up like sending him a few voice messages because I do that. And then I was like, ooh, not too much, probably was too much. And he'll say, oh yeah, like that made me really uncomfortable because I also wasn't used to women who communicated. But then his friends were like, Sean, this is exactly you. Like, this is what you need. And then I forget where I was going with this, but so I felt like I really like had a good idea of who he was and what he cared about. And he was also very authentic, like on the apps, just about like someone who was emotionally intelligent and like, he answered some of those like questions on Hinge like that, which really was attractive for me. So yeah. So basically this date, I just felt like I already felt like I could be exactly who I am. And who I am is someone who 99% of the time just doesn't wear makeup and loves just like, I don't care if my hair's up and like, and I'm in sports gear or whatever. Like that's just how I am most of the time. Like in the past, I'd obviously go on a first date and not obviously, but as most people probably do, like dress up a little, like look their best selves. And I'm just like, well, no, this is me. And he was stoked about it because I just went on this epic adventure with some girlfriends and like, he was like, wow, this girl's great. So
that's amazing.
So yeah, I don't know. That's how we met. And then, we've been together ever since, I guess. So
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That communication though. Oh, yes. Give me some more of that.
I know. So sexy. So yeah, like even our first real date after that, he like asked me about my sex drive and like asked, like we hadn't done anything yet. Like it was just so refreshing to like have somebody actually talk about these things like in a way that's like, oh, he's not just trying to like sleep with me but he's like genuinely trying to see if, you know, we're a good match, or like ask these more intimate personal questions. And that did make me feel slightly uncomfortable just because I wasn't used to it, but it was also really refreshing being like, oh wow, you actually care, you're interested in knowing that side of me. Yeah.
So like sex drive, that's, you know, him saying, how often a week would you want to have sex? Like,
I know. I didn't know how to answer it. I was just like moderate,
like with regular dick 3 times a week, please.
Totally. I know. He has a high sex drive, so he wanted to make sure that he's, you know, not making sure that lines up. So
I don't know. So many men think that they will have a higher sex drive than women, or at least this is just my experience, but like I tend to have a higher sex drive than them. Actually, you know what's really interesting is that like my current situation is that we've figured out that, and I don't know if this is a men and women thing, it's probably not, but like for me, if I haven't had sex in a long time, I like really crave it, and it ends up being really, really good for me, right? Versus Aaron, my partner, I know you know his name, but for listeners at home, he like, if he like has had sex a lot, he has a higher sex drive. But then if he goes long enough without, he just doesn't crave it.
I feel like that's actually, I've never thought about that, but I do think that's, I'm sure not for everybody, but like definitely more like a men. Yeah.
Is it a men and women?
I think so. Cause but if I have sex a few times, I'm like, I'm good for a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I'm like, sometimes it's like, I want it again, but it's like, okay, my vagina still hurts a little. Like, come on, get away.
Totally.
Maybe beat them away with a fucking stick. Nope.
I know. It'll be like, oh, just like now, you know, 2.5 years in, I'm like, oh, you want to have sex this morning? We just did last night. Like, I'm good. You know?
Right? Sometimes it's like, I need to get you a really good sex toy that you can use by yourself, because I'm not down again this soon.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the first questions I remember him asking me was during that.
That's such a good way to put that, and a good like investigative question.
I know. It's good. Not like too creepy, like, oh, so how many times do you want to fuck a week? It's like
not less of an okay question.
Yeah.
So have you guys, I don't know, how exploratory have you guys been? I once heard this hilarious, there's this woman who'd been married for 10 years, and this was from the perspective, I was dating her sister, but like she was like, this is from the perspective of the woman who's been married for 10 years. And even though she wasn't that close to her husband, I feel like it was a very money-based relationship, and like no judgment, but that was the main tie between them. She was like, I mean, we've been married for 10 years. We've done it all. I don't know what it all means.
Yeah, define it all.
Right? Like that could mean very different things for different people.
Yeah, absolutely. So to be honest, we haven't been that exploratory yet. It's been a while, but I don't know if it's because we've been like distance, like, so we're moving in together for the first time soon, so that might change things. But yeah, nothing too crazy yet. We've talked about things, but haven't really done anything too wild. He can make me squirt. That's the first.
Oh, that's good.
So that's like the first time I even have experienced that. But even toys, like I actually, that's on my to-do list before I leave Vancouver, is to buy a new vibrator, because I want to, you know, even bring that in. Like haven't done, like, the sex is really good that we're kind of like, okay, we're going to soon have to, not have to, but we might want to, you know, get a little more exploratory, a little more wild, but we, just haven't yet. But I'm excited because we're both like super open to it. Like even conversations like, hey, we don't want it right now, but one day would be maybe want to bring somebody into the bedroom or something. Like, who knows? Maybe, like, we're both very open, but haven't really gone there yet. So
I
find boring, but not yet.
Well, like, if you can have the conversation, it's important, right? Like it's almost as if like, if you can have the conversation and you know you can have any conversation, there's almost no need to be like, oh, but this is a thing. And like, you don't get angry or weird about it, because you're just like, we can talk about it.
Totally.
We can talk about anything.
Yeah. So even if I'm having these conversations, sometimes even right now, to be completely transparent, I'm like, oh my gosh, my sex life is boring. but then I'm like, no, I'm with a partner that like we have really good sex and we are able to communicate about it and we are open and, you know, if we're together for a long time, there's plenty of time to try these interesting, fun things, right?
And I mean, I think it comes down to, are you happy with your sex life?
Exactly.
Right? Like, and if the answer is yes, then amazing. If the answer is no, then okay, then that's something to look at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm curious though, because I feel like squirting is different for many women.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you say squirt, without being too graphic, I'm just curious. Like sometimes it's like a pool on the bed. Sometimes it feels like you're peeing. Like, is that it? Because like, I don't know.
Yeah. I remember the first time, oh my gosh, I was like, I don't know if you can relate. Yeah, it's kind of like a mix of both, like just like a little bit, it's like, yeah, just with his fingers and just like got in the right spot. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a feeling I've never had before. And then it just felt like, yeah, like I was like leaking.
Yes, that's kind of the feeling. And you're like, you're half peeing, half leaking.
Yeah.
And it's just out there.
It's just,
and you could have such a bigger pile than any man can.
Absolutely. Like just like on the bed there, I'm like, oh my God, it's so there. What happened? And I'm like, oh yeah,
Time to change the sheets.
Yeah. So I remember just like, where is it, like American Pie or something, hearing about squirting or like seeing, I don't know if that's the movie or something. And like,
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it was an American Pie. And then before Sean, I had never experienced it, never even, I was like, oh, I think I was even under the belief that like only a small percentage of women squirt or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, pretty early on into our relationship that happened, I'm like, oh my God, this is possible.
I think that like most women have the ability to squirt, but there's a very small amount of women who have the ability to orgasm like vaginally. Mm-hmm. I think that's more of where that's kind of like, yeah,
totally. Yeah. Cause that is tricky to have. Are you able to?
I feel like with some people it was really easy and some people it's really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just like their dick doesn't fit in the right way. You know, like it feels like it just doesn't press the right buttons in the right way. And it's just difficult.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like it's funny because like I feel as though a lot of people first comes the sex and then comes the feelings, right? Mm-hmm. Or I feel like that's how a lot of relationships progress.
Yeah.
Or at least when we were younger or whenever, right? It's like, oh, the sex is really great. You have this great connection. And then everything else develops kind of around that. Or like you keep seeing them because of that. And then that develops. We actually kind of had the opposite thing happen.
Oh.
Where, yeah, we were like really, really into each other's like minds and talking to each other and all of that stuff. But the sex didn't work for ages.
Really?
Yeah, it did not work. It was to the point where we were just like, well, we're just going to be together and we're just going to have to outsource sex to other people. Like,
wow. Like you still were like, you know, really,
we were trying
to be together, but you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I can't remember if it must've been even like after we were like officially together that like when we had the, do you want to be with me? Do you want to be my girlfriend?
Yeah.
That conversation. I'm pretty sure it was like after that it actually started to work.
Wow. Yeah. What changed?
It was, I mean, without like dumping his secrets on the table,
of course.
Essentially, like I'll let him tell everybody himself.
Yeah.
But essentially it was a lot in his head, right? Because like I feel like, and again, speaking out of term, and I'm not an expert on these things by any means, but I feel like a lot of erectile things are in the mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That it's
especially with young guys,
especially
older might be heart-related issues, but
right? Or like, yeah, like we got to the point where we're like, should we get some Viagra? Like it's just like it. Yeah, and I was also very, very insistent on condoms, and it doesn't work for him, and so we had to find a solution. And after, you know, he explained how good he was at pulling out and his statistics that he knew on pulling out, I was like, okay, still uncomfortable with this, never done this before. Like, I swear, even when I was on birth control, I used to use condoms with a boyfriend.
Oh yeah, me too.
Right?
Terrifying.
Right? I was like, no. And then you find out that it's really hard to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Why did nobody ever tell you that?
I know, right? It's the opposite. It's like you will have sex one time unprotected and you will get pregnant.
Right? Like it takes a miracle because that's only like a fourth of the time that you would be able to. And even then.
I know. So do you do like, are you on any birth control? Do you do like the like cycle syncing and that?
I do cycle
yeah.
syncing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's, yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, we're just both like nodding, being like, hey, yeah. But it's, yeah, you track your cycle and you figure out the 1 week because okay, here's the main lesson. Sperm can live inside you for up to 5 days, maybe 6. So if you give yourself a buffer of a couple of days, you're solid. You then just need to know when you ovulate. And the days before that, be extra, extra careful. Use some spermicide, whatever works for you. And all the rest of the time, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can't get pregnant.
Exactly.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. So if you're only doing it with one person, like, yeah. Anyways,
I know. I'm asking too because I've had an IUD for the last 4.5 years, and I mean it's phenomenal. It's so convenient, but I also want to know what my body's doing, and I want to be able to like understand my cycle and my hormones. And I've recently learned more about that. And like, I think that natural intuition that comes with even that I feel like, I could be a little bit blocked right now. And just like before that, I was on the pill for like 10 years. So it's just been, in a few months, I'm due to get it out. I'm excited to not, but also terrified because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be on any birth control.
Yes, it's a little terrifying. Personally, I've tried every type of birth control and none of them have worked for me. So eventually I was just like, okay, well, none of them work and I don't want any of them.
Yeah.
And then, eventually I did start reading all these fantastic books like Your Brain on Birth Control. And there's one called Period Power that teaches you about like cycle syncing and like, and how you can eat certain foods at certain parts of the month and like how it compares like your period to your winter and then like your ovulation to your spring your summer. And then like you go in seasons.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And then you start being like, yes, it's my period. I get to sleep and I get to just renew myself. And I know because I'm in this part of my cycle that if I'm having this feeling of, I don't want to talk to anybody, that's normal. That's so normal. And you don't have to be like, oh no, why do I feel antisocial? You go, I'm in my bubble. Don't talk to me. Like, oh man, I was talking to a friend the other day who's listened to this story about how in this, I'm going to butcher it if I try to, let's say in an older civilization than ours, they used to send women over to like this little hut, all to like have their to have their period together. And reading that, you might think it was shameful and it was gross. And they sent all the women here to go bleed together. It was disgusting and nobody wanted to see it and deal with it. But the opposite of that is that they wanted to give all these women this time to heal and be alone and be with each other and support each other through what shouldn't be painful.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be painful.
Keyword. Yeah.
Keyword. And just go through this like magnificent time. And it like that's such a different view on it.
I know. Instead of the like, oh, you're just PMSing or like that shame around it. Like, it's just, when I've only recently learned about this and I'm like in healthcare, like I'm only, I'm like almost 30 and I'm a nurse and like, I'm like, how do I not know about these things? But it's just not taught. And it's especially for me, like the biggest was like the energy, like the social energy and energy levels. And because I'm really hard on myself if I'm like not productive or if I don't feel like I'm maximizing my time or like energy or whatever, and really recognizing, maybe certain times of the month I just like giving myself permission to rest and exactly what you said, like don't talk to me, I'm in my bubble, like just do that. And so right now with my idea of because I don't really have a period, it's really difficult to like even pretend to sync it. So I just feel like I'm unaware of that. So I'm really not looking forward to the, inconvenience that we all,
bleeding.
The bleeding. And like, I'm not to worry about that for like 5 years. It's been amazing. But like, also that's like a beautiful part of our existence. So it's just
it's, I don't know. I kind of want to I don't know. I've heard it's very empowering to like paint with it and stuff. I kind of want to do that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know.
Oh, what would you paint?
I would try to like go into some sort of meditative trance and paint with it, or maybe just take some mushrooms. You know?
Yeah, like maybe have a little
Something.
assistance. Yeah,
connect to myself. I shouldn't be making light of this. That is actually like a pretty serious and holy ceremony to do. I just don't. I have to look up how to store the blood properly.
I wouldn't.
But apparently it's full of stem cells. Like it's really rich. Like in some cultures they drink it. Like it's.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine it's like something we. Here we just again, even how I just worded it, like this inconvenience and it's annoying and it's like, but
that's
like
something we were taught.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we were taught that it's like beautiful and it's part of our, how powerful is that like
it's so powerful. Like I love the slogans that are like, anything you can do, I can do bleeding. I'm like, yes, I can do this. Right? And that's so empowering. Like I have moments of empowerment when I'm just like, I'm doing this and I'm bleeding right now. Like step 5, let's go.
I haven't heard that before. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Like sometimes I like list off the accomplishments I've had in the past day and I'm like, and I did it all with my period.
I am a total badass. Yeah.
And I'm going to go and dump all the blood in the toilet. It's going to be great.
Oh, I love it.
But I'm curious if with the IUD, because do you have a hormonal one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the copper one for a year. It was the worst thing ever. But so like, I'm curious if like you could track your cycle somehow. Like I know like your temperature goes up and down very slightly, right? I wonder if it still does, because you feel like you sound as though you still feel some of those cycles happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been trying, like the person I first learned about this was Elisa Vitti. She has like this book called In the Flow, and she's on a couple podcasts, that's why I was like, wow, she has this app as well. So it's been kind of good to just track it. So yeah, with my mood and like discharge, and occasionally I spot a little bit. So then sometimes, but then for example, nothing's TMI here, whatever. So it's like a week ago or like a little over a week ago, I spotted it, and like a couple days ago I spotted it again, but there's nothing in between. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like it's just too long. So then, but yeah, there's definitely ways. Like I haven't tried taking my temperature. So that's actually a good point. Like if I can just take that to have a little bit of a better idea, because I'm just kind of guessing right now based on when I think I spot, which is so minimal that it's really hard to kind of track it. But I think just like sometimes it's more looking back, like when I look at my calendar where I kind of write it all down, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense when I was like super moody and like that weekend I really pushed and did all these things when I like should have just rested. Okay. Yeah. But I want to be on top of it. I don't want to look back and be like, I want to know like moving forward, right? So
yeah, for sure. I mean, when all else fails, apparently you can just, so the book Period Power is one I always reference back to, even though I didn't even finish it, but I got like so many lessons and then like, I don't know. Yeah. Life happened. And there's like, you can follow the cycle of the moon. Like if you want to follow a cycle, if you feel the need to follow a cycle, but maybe you don't bleed, or, like all types of reasons why women all over the world don't bleed. Right. Yeah. But yeah, still want that cycle. And
because I've recently learned about that as well. And then I was thinking, wait, but how do you follow the moon cycle and then your own like menstrual cycle? Like, what if they don't? Well,
it's only it's only if you don't have the evidence, right? You don't have the blood or the ovulation or right? Whatever.
Absolutely.
If you're stopping yourself or you don't have that or whatever else, right? Yeah. But I believe I'm gonna butcher this because one of them's full moon and new moon. One of them is ovulation and one of them is menstruation.
I think full moon is menstruation.
I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure. New moon is like, you're ready for new
on
ideas.
Top of the world.
On top of it, fresh start. And full
feeling so sexy. Yeah. Your face is more asymmetrical.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Asymmetrical? What?
Oh yeah, like there are so many superpowers you get from ovulating. You're just like it's your most irresistible time of the month. Like you feel more confident, and because the point is you're trying to attract, like it's biology, right? Like you're trying to attract all these males. We're essentially in heat once a month, right? Totally. And so like apparently there's like a whole bunch of studies done, like strippers make more tips when they're ovulating, like all this stuff, because it's like that radiant energy that you just you don't really know what it is, but you can just tell that this person's irresistible. And even more so when they're, dropping an egg. Yeah.
Dropping an egg. Love it. I want to be more, wow. I want to pay more attention to that. Just be like, oh yeah, now is my time to shine.
Oh, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I love women's bodies. They're incredible.
I know, it's such a miracle. I'm like, how is this possible? Yeah.
All right. So this has been so amazing. I've loved talking to you. Just girl talk moment about sex and boyfriends and periods and all the things. And it's funny because I feel like I'm always like men, or this is the old trope, very old trope of like men being like, when women get together, they just talk about their periods, and you know what? We do.
So true. Because we were not even intending on it, and it just happened.
It just comes out because it's such a big part of our lives, and it's wonderful and weird and important, and it's the fifth vital sign, right?
It really?
How many vital signs do we have?
Yeah, 6 probably would be the
sixth sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been so wonderful. I wanted to ask you one last question.
Oh shoot!
Because you are you spent this whole time smiling and just laughing and being radiant. Let me use the word radiant human being. And I was wondering, what would you attribute to that radiance, that happiness in your life?
Oh, wow. Great question. What would I attribute to my radiance? I feel like I don't know if it's my natural optimism or just seeing, I don't know if this answers your question or not, but I just have always been able to look on the bright side of things, and just always been able to like see the silver lining in situations. And where that comes from, I don't know. My mom she's kind of like that too. She's really like very, I guess, content with the little things, and just able to see the bright side most of the time. So I think I kind of picked that up from her, and I just really appreciate the little things in life. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question properly, but just that natural, was I born with it? Did it come from my mom or my upbringing? I don't know, but I just love seeing the bright side of things, I guess. I don't know. Does that answer your question? That's kind of
it's lovely. It's beautiful.
I stumbled upon that so much.
And what if you could leave somebody with one piece of advice who's looking to cultivate that kind of mindset? Part 2 of the question.
Yes.
Surprise part 2.
One piece of advice. I would say this might be a bit of a curveball, but like taking responsibility for your life. Like if you are playing victim, like if you think that, so-and-so or the world sucks, like the pandemic is terrible, the government, if that's how you're thinking about it, of course you're always going to be miserable because you don't have any control. And so like we don't have, like there's always going to be things out of our control, but what we can control is our outlook and our mindset, and like taking responsibility. What can you do? Like what can you change? If you're not happy at work, you can find a new job. If you're not happy with your partner, you can break up and find somebody new. Like you have control over a lot in life. And so taking that responsibility, I think will make you feel like you're not a victim anymore. And that will only lead to you feeling happier and be able to see things in a positive light, I guess. That
was so wonderful. Thank you. Oh, it's a beautiful way to end this episode. Thank you so much for coming over the 8-minute bike ride.
Oh, of course, happy to. It got me off the couch
and onto my couch.
Exactly. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode of Reclaim Your Radiance. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed your time with us and came away with something truly valuable. If you want more and simply cannot wait until next week, come join us online. We have a couple of really exciting communities that are being built. First, we have a Facebook community with the name Reclaim Your Radiance, where we talk about all sorts of topics related to the podcast, and tons that aren't. It's a community of like-minded souls who want to dive deeper into these things and keep the conversation going. Secondly, you can sign up for our mailing list to receive bonus content and stay in touch with what's happening in the world of Reclaim Your Radiance. And lastly, coming soon to a computer near you is our Patreon. Come along and join us for extra content, regular community meetups, fun swag, one-on-one time with yours truly, and so much more. Stay tuned for that. Head on over to the episode notes and the show description to find those links, and I hope to see you online soon. All right, everyone, until next week, stay radiant.